Over at Bushcraft USA, there's a knife maker named Brian Sargent. He had kind of a rough start on the forum. He apologized, proved himself to be a stand-up guy, and that's why I decided to buy this knife from him and do a review on it. It's a bushcraft knife, and I'm going to get into the particulars of it here in a minute. But here's a thing that probably some of you are wondering about. How can you get this? And this is a Model 3 that Brian Sargent made. And Brian made this specifically for me to give away. So at the end of the video, after I'm done showing you what I can do with this knife, or what it can do actually, we'll go ahead and tell you how to get into the giveaway to win this. About $250 knife or so. So anyway, to start with, 01 tool steel, Scandi grind, blade's about 3.5 inches long or so, not very long. The handle is OD green micarta, and it's pretty blocky. And to be totally honest with you, the first time I picked it up, I was like, oh man, I don't know if I'm gonna like this or not. But it turns out it ended up being very comfortable, and that's why I don't really place a lot of value on initial impression type stuff. But as you can see, it's a small bushcraft knife, fits very well in the hand, has a very small choil. I had him sandblast the micarta, so it is really rough, especially when it gets slick with water or blood. Works very, very well. I'm going to go through a few tests with you. You guys know that I do a lot of split wood fires. I do batoning. I like to do a lot of improvising with these knives when I'm testing them. And I've ran this one for about, I don't know, 5 months or so, maybe a little bit longer. But great, great little knife, and I'll get into the particulars of it here in a minute. So, carrying this knife around a lot, I really learned to love this sheath too. Brian does a great job with it. You can hear how solid these leather sheaths are. He puts them in hot beeswax, really makes them real solid. Yeah, you can have a dangler, you can take that off, you can wear it as a neck carry, you can put it in your back pocket or whatever. I carried it all the ways around, it was always comfortable. A little noisy if you're worried about noise, but if you're not worried about noise, no big deal. So sheath, great sheath. Batoning, you guys know I'm big on that if you've watched any of my stuff. Alright, even a little knife like this, I think should be able to baton. Because I like making split wood fires. I think they're the most reliable way to get a fire going, especially in conditions like this, where everything's wet, nasty. Just had a snowstorm come through. Alright, so fits the bill there. Here's some nice, soft cedar. Get a nice clean branch going here. You can see it shaves really, really well. Very sharp. Ease of sharpening. I've never had to take a file to this or anything. I've never had any nicks in it. I actually told Brian when I first got this that I was worried, because a lot of times I take my knife and I'll put the tip of it into the wood and then twist it. It's a little bit too big. Twist it to get a split going. A lot of Scandis have an inherent problem with the tips breaking off. And I told him, I said, man, I think this tip might break off. He says, well, if it does, it does. You know, send it back to me and I'll fix it. But I never had it break off. So, scrapings. Check, makes good scrapings. Striking a fire steel is another big thing for me. This back spine, you have to be able to strike a fire steel with it. If you can't do that, it's not going to be a lot of use for me. Damp. They're damp. But you can see it does a real good job of scraping that fire steel. So no complaints in that department. So split wood fire, Works great. It batons, it splits, strikes fire steels, makes scrapings, makes shavings. Awesome. All right, next thing I want to be sure that this thing does, I want to be sure I can cross baton with it. All right, and this is not a very big stick, but you can get the idea, right? I like to be able to cross baton for small projects. Can I take the time to do a circular cut around it? You bet, all right? But batoning for me is just that much faster. Once again, no damage to the edge, no damage to the tip. Great little deal. Why do I like to be able to cross baton so much? Because I like to do projects, all right? This here is a Roycroft ski shoe. It's an improvised snowshoe. I only made one. I got the stuff to make the other one because I'm using it for another knife to do that. But everything I did on this, from taking the saplings down, cutting them, shaving them, shaping everything that's here, I did that with this knife. Except I made two saw cuts on a piece of wood here and then split it down and shaved it. I also used it to make a failed project, and yes, I do fail at projects. All right. This is part of a rope making machine. I was trying to use natural fibers and use this to twist it. Didn't work out the way I wanted to, but you can see there's a lot of fine detail in there, a lot of intricate parts that move. This swivel, all right, made that with this knife. So you can see, not only will it stand up to the rough stuff, but it stands up to the small stuff too, and that's important for me, as I'm able to improvise with it. So I've used this knife to teach several classes. I know it's brought a little bit of business to Brian. He's a good guy. He really is. He's a stand-up guy. Like I said, I really like him, and his knife has really proved to be a great tool. And it's actually, I really loved my boat tail Scandi I had for a while, but I ended up selling that in preference to this. So this is pretty much going to be the knife that I carry when I'm not testing other knives. Great deal. Now, this other knife here comes with a fire steel that Brian made. Monster fire steel, right? The Model 3, it's like a modified Model 3. It's got a skull crusher cap on the end. Once again, the spine is 90 degrees. That's a really sharp 90 too. Scandi grind, about a 4-inch blade or so. He left the scale on it, 01 tool steel. Awesome knife. A little bit different from this knife, you know, a little bit bigger handle, a little bit different applications, but not much. Still a great bushcraft knife. Solid sheath, once again, the same quality workmanship. So, to win this knife, there'll be instructions over at you know where, monkeystonegearreviews.com. It's my blog, and I'll be